Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Archnemesis League 3.17. In this episode, I'm going to be going through build updates for the Carrion Golem Necromancer because I've made some big changes and I want to go over them and why I've made them, and I can also give you some useful things for Path of Building on how to calculate the minion stuff with the changes we've made. So I think it'd be best to start off with why I changed stuff, what is so cool about the new stuff. So the first one was I wanted a better phasing, and Dead End Living, a viewer, longtime viewer, huge fucking gamer, god gamer. This guy, he said, yo, another form of phasing. You could get Grant's phasing with the divergent dash, or with the new Ami, it gets to a 5-second phasing. First of all, I didn't even know this was a thing, and then the fact that it goes from 2 to 5, it's 5 seconds, and then you could make it, you use it, and it's a 2-second cooldown, so even without second wind, it's infinite phasing, and then you have second wind, so you can have an extra dash, which is really cool, but you could actually save the gem. You don't need to use second wind. And then on top of this is basically your flame dash, your phase run, and the increased duration all in one just because you had the amulet. What? Divergent dash is disgusting. I've noticed some interactions, like if you do this, you can't get over the wall, but then if you do this, it does go over the wall, so that's really cool. And then it can go down too, like, yeah, and then you can double dash. You technically don't need, the second wind, like I said, but it does make it feel better, more like a flame dash. And you saved so many gems, so it's really cool. So divergent dash with the amulet, and then second wind 2020 is my recommendation if you're gonna do it, because it doesn't reduce the cooldown recovery rate. And then the other one is we're able to get skitter bots in the build, and we do the AoE, so it has big AoE with the amulet, instead, because my old complaint was that it wasn't big enough AoE. It's 40 or something, and then we can run. Before I talk about this curse assassin's mark, you technically have to get a Crusader chestplate with the explode. It's my uber endgame animate guardian, where he has a double influence chestplate, where he has a +1 curse from Hunter, and then he has the elevated explode mod from Crusader. It's a complicated chestplate, but basically it gets the additional curse, which is what allowed me to I can assassin's mark, while my animate guardian uses the grave bind with the curse on hit vulnerability. So he'll curse vulnerability, and I can still do assassin's mark because of his +1 on the chestplate. And then yeah, for Impulsa you can do windscreen. Assassin's Mark, which makes the enemies take 10% increased damage, which is kind of like the small edit. I realized that when I talked about adding back in the skitterbots, something I also remembered when I added back in the skitterbots and I did the AoE, which made it more consistent. Then this also makes it so that people can run Impulsa's Broken Heart on the Animate Guardian as the Explode chestplate, because the enemies are shocked, and the AoE is so big on the skitterbots because of the Golem Commander. So the AoE with the Impulsa, the boom, 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 explosions everywhere, big damage, AoE clear, goddamn. You can do this instead of the Crusader chestplate if you have the skitterbots in the build. So adding it back in the skitterbots is actually allows people to do budget, cheap Animate Guardian Explode chest without having to do the Crusader chest. So just wanted to add that in there. Extra caveat: if you use an Impulsa, you can't get the +1 curse chest plate. So then which is my uber endgame Animate Guardian, the +1 curse with the Explode Crusader chest plate. You won't have the +1 curse, so then you can't use Assassin's Mark. You would need to use like windscreen boots or something, and so actually you could do windscreen boots with an Impulsa, and then you could do the +1 curse Crusader chest for the Assassin's Mark. Yeah, helmet on the Animate Guardian, that's with the amulet, and then this crit, I want to show you what it does in the Path of Building. So how did I fit the skitterbots and the anomalous Assassin's Mark? I took out Grace. When I was making that really tanky character, I realized I didn't really need the evasion, except for the deep delving. I guess it'd help a little bit, but then at that point we could probably just make the character more well-rounded instead of needing evasion. And so I dropped the blind, we dropped the evasion. We're not even Defiance Banner, we were Dread Banner anyway, so we don't have the increased evasion. And then with the no increased evasion flask, I can craft increased move speed, so I actually have higher move speed. With the phase run, I was going up to like almost 200 move speed. It was pretty crazy. And then There's also the benefit of I can run anomalous convocation. Now that I'm not phase run, left click phase run, you can run any skill, but technically this is just one cool one that he mentioned that he thought of. Convocation anomalous with the amulet is 100% move speed for the minions, which is basically a primordial chain for all your minions. Yeah, it's completely broken. The only problem I noticed is it's a 2-second duration and a 3-second cooldown, which means it's only a 66% uptime, therefore it's like 66% move speed average, not 100, so it's not the primordial chain. Maybe a super low roll, not even in existence. Yeah, so but this was really sick, and it feels really good because you could do this and look how fast they are, and it's insane. And then you can dash, and then you have phasing for 5 seconds on a 2-second cooldown, so clearly you're gonna have permanent phasing, and that is the most consistent phasing I've ever seen. And you don't even like, this is it. You don't even need the second win. Like I said, you don't even need this. Just the dash on the 2-second cooldown. You don't, like, this one gem, Divergent Dash, is completely broken. The phasing is so hard to get in this game, and then what? It's just basically free. And the double dash is pretty fun. Second wind is pretty fun, but you don't have to, like I said. And then because we didn't run Grace, we get to save a whole gem. So yeah, yep. We could probably run Enlighten, probably actually get more mana reserve, and we could probably fit Grace in too. We could probably do that since we saved the gem space with the second wind. And maybe the convocation if we don't actually run it. I don't know what I would run on my left click. There's actually a million options. You can run like war cries and shit. We can run anything now that we don't need phase run. Divergent Dash is the... And this amulet is everything. Oh my god. Even normal, it's almost there if you think about it. Because the 2-second with a 2-second, it's almost there, dude. It just needs a little bit of quality. So yeah, the amulet is absolutely bonkers for it. Now I want to show you the POB. Alright, so this is my POB. And the main thing I want to show, so 7.2. And we got the 40 million total, but this doesn't count something. So right now it says 61% crit, and this doesn't count brittle. So this is actually how you get brittle. You see how this one, I can remove that dash, and now this line is brittle, 5% base crit. So they went from, if you look here, base 5 plus 6.5. So the 6.5 is the 5 from the brittle, which is the brittle ground from your boot and the animate guardian's boot, and then you have the assassin's mark, and that's 1.5 base crit, and that's the other. So they have a base of 5, and you add another 5 with brittle ground from your boot or the animate guardian's boot through the new eldritch currency, and then the other 1.5 is the assassin's mark. And with all of that and all the increased crit chance, this gets me to 98 on the minions. Pretty insane. So now I want to show you how the assassin's mark was quite a big difference. It went from 98 to 95. Then the damage difference. So you have right now 43, and we go to 55 assassin's mark, because 10% increased damage is like almost 10% more. It's not exactly, but it's almost 10% more. And then the 52 crit multi and the base crit is insane because the crit chance it gives you. And then this is the difference of if you walk on the enemy and leave brittle ground. You go from the 98 to 61. So brittle ground is disgusting. We're at 40, and if you had the brittle ground, 55, so that's a lot of damage from brittle ground. If you didn't have brittle ground and you assassin's mark, that's 11 million. So both of them are massive on our damage. Both of these are gigantic because I have the crit multi wands and the vicious bites, and I have so much crit multi, and I have the crit multi from the Kingmaker, and so I've really invested into crit. And this is what I wanted to show you guys about the changes to the build. The skitter bots is just like, I didn't want to run Grace, and I wanted to run the AoE skitter bot, so I'll show you that too. This one, it's pretty good. It's pretty good damage, and it's more consistent with the being a bigger AoE now. And then it's a chill too. It's not just the damage; it's also a chill, so it's pretty good. it's also a defensive thing. And then the AoE makes it more consistent, in my opinion. Now I'd like to give my final conclusion for the video. So technically you don't have to run Second Wind, but the extra dash makes it less like a Frost Blink and more like a Flame Dash, which is better, and because you already saved so many gems. So overall, really like dash phasing. Wow, what a game changer. The Convocation feels really good. With the move speed on the minions, they are very, very good clear speed. Highly recommend. And then Assassin's Mark is worth it. Big damage when you have the extra curse. Getting the extra curse is worth it if you wanted to do something and have big extra damage in our build. And then the Brittle Ground is still worth it. Skitterbots over Grace is pretty good, and then you could even save some mana reservation throughout the build, make the build even cheaper, even easier to build. You could still try to fit Grace in the build too. Either way, that's everything for today's video. Those are all the build updates, all the build upgrades. Those are the things we did for now. Oh, there was one more. I switched out because I dropped Grace. I didn't run the Watcher's Eye for the spell suppression, and I was able to run Vitality, Life Recovery Rate, which gets me to 800 without Bottled Faith, 1067 with Bottled Faith, and I can switch out the extra Golem for Mistress for Mistress of Sacrifice, run Bone Offering, and it's like 1200 regen, because Bone Offering gives regen now, and then it affects you with this, and you'll have the block, and then I get, yeah. So it's pretty good. And then the Mage Bane, which I was already here, so just pathing to here gets me the dex converted to spell suppression, so I still had the spell suppression amount. So we're good. And then one more min-max that I'm going to do next, just people are like, what's next? Another one I thought of was, I got a jewel yesterday. One of my clusters, I got stun avoidance in Harvest, so now you can technically change one of the corruptions of stun avoidance to anything I want, which is kind of cool. So I could get reservation. I even thought about, like, technically with an Enlighten in the build and without Second Wind and maybe another gem, Convocation, could you fit in the Grace? Like, I don't know, it's pretty weird. Might be worth it in the end though. We have all this stuff. Either way, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Can we get 69 likes for Divergent Dash? Dash is disgusting. Oh my god, Dash was the highlight of this video. And Assassin's Mark is big damage, and we don't really need Grace. True. Bye.